New Orleans, 1834. A night of fire, a night of reckoning. But the flames weren't the real horror. It was what they revealed. Bodies chained to the walls. Bones shattered, mouths sewn shut. A secret chamber, a torture room, masked by wealth and luxury. This is the true story of Madame Delphine LaLaurie, one of New Orleans' most feared figures in New Orleans ghost stories. For years, whispers surrounded her, servants disappeared, cries seeped through the walls, but no one wanted to believe the rumors, until the fire revealed everything. A woman of wealth, power, and unimaginable cruelty. A monster hiding in plain sight. Madame LaLaurie did not stay to face her reckoning. Before the mob could storm her home, she vanished, never to be seen again. Some say she fled to Europe. Others believe she never left New Orleans. Did she live in exile, assume another identity, or vanish into something far darker? But her house remained. Some call the fire an accident. Others say the mansion itself cried out after years of torment. Even now, those who enter report phantom screams, shadowy figures, and objects moving on their own. Even Hollywood wasn't spared. Nicolas Cage, who bought the mansion in 2007, fled in a panic. We'll talk about it later in the video. Tonight, we dive deep into the true horrors of Madame LaLaurie, her life, her crimes, and the mystery of her escape. This is one of the most chilling chapters in the dark history of New Orleans. We'll explore the eerie history of the mansion and the chilling discoveries made during renovations in 2019, which may finally shed light on what truly happened behind its walls. Let us begin. The Mask of Elegance, the heart of a monster. New Orleans in the early 1800s was a city of grandeur, gilded halls, towering mansions, and carefully maintained reputations. Among its elite was Delphine McCarty LaLaurie, a woman of wealth and refinement, born into one of the most powerful Creole families. The McCartys were aristocrats, their influence spanning generations, built on land, power, and the labor of enslaved people. From a young age, Delphine understood that privilege was not just inherited, it was wielded. Delphine was beautiful, educated, and calculating. She married 3 times, and each husband met an untimely fate. Her first, a Spanish officer, mysteriously died en route to Havana, leaving her wealthy. Her second, a French aristocrat, elevated her status, but died unexpectedly, fueling dark rumors. Her third, Dr. Louis LaLaurie, a brilliant yet powerless man, was said to fear her. Some whispered he tried to escape. Then, one night, he vanished without a trace. With each loss, she became wealthier, more untouchable. By the time she married Dr. LaLaurie, she wasn't just a widow, she was an empire. Her name commanded reverence at royal banquets. Her invitations were coveted, and her mansion on Royal Street became a beacon of excess. She hosted extravagant galas, chandeliers dripping with crystal, orchestras playing into the night, tables overflowing with the finest wines and delicacies. The elite of New Orleans danced in her ballroom, oblivious to the horrors concealed beyond its locked doors. Yet beneath the opulence, something was rotting. Some guests later recalled an unsettling coldness about her, an eerie hollowness in the house itself. Neighbors noticed odd occurrences, servants who appeared one day and vanished the next, never to be seen again, and always an unsettling silence, as if the very walls held their breath. For years, Delphine LaLaurie reigned among New Orleans' elite, her cruelty masked by wealth. But the facade was cracking, and when it shattered, the city would never be the same, because the fire was coming, and with it, her darkest secrets would be exposed. But before the flames revealed the truth, the whispers had already begun. Whispers of cruelty. The cracks begin to show. In a city built on secrets and silence, it was easy for the powerful to make things or people disappear. The enslaved servants of the LaLaurie household were rarely seen in the daylight, and when they were, their appearances were startling. Some bore fresh wounds, hastily bandaged, deep gashes that should have been stitched, bruises blooming beneath torn sleeves. Others had hollowed-out eyes, their expressions vacant, their movements slow, as if they had forgotten how to live. Then there were those who simply vanished. One day, a familiar face would be seen carrying trays at a lavish gala, and the next, they were never spoken of again. When curious neighbors asked about these disappearances, Madame LaLaurie would smile sweetly and wave them away. Some servants had run off, she would say. Others were sent away to other properties, and because no one dared to challenge her, the city looked the other way. But not everyone could ignore the dread creeping beneath the surface. Then came the night that shattered the silence. Leah, a 12-year-old servant, was trapped in Madame LaLaurie's house of fear. One evening, a scream pierced the air, then silence. Moments later, her lifeless body lay in the courtyard, eyes fixed on the attic window. Did Leah leap to escape what lurked in the attic? Or was she thrown? What the neighbors knew for certain was this: Leah was dead, and the monster who ruled this house was still inside. A hush fell over Royal Street, an unspoken agreement to pretend nothing had happened, but the whispers had turned to murmurs, and soon they would become shouts of outrage. The monster behind the mask was beginning to reveal itself, and the city of New Orleans was starting to pay attention. The fire that revealed the nightmare. April 10th, 1834. The night that New Orleans could no longer look away. The LaLaurie Mansion stood silent and imposing under the flickering streetlights, its iron gates shut tight, its windows dark. The grand estate, home to the city's most feared and revered woman, had hidden its secrets well, until the fire. Some say it started in the kitchen. Others believe it was set on purpose, a final act of desperation. As black smoke filled the sky, the city stirred with unease. Firefighters stormed the mansion, but inside they found something worse than flames. A low, wailing sound echoed through the burning halls. Something not of the fire. They climbed the winding staircase, each step heavier than the last. The smoke clung to their lungs, thick and suffocating. And then, the attic door. A single push, a groan of wood, and what lay beyond it would haunt them forever. Bodies chained to the walls, some still alive, others long dead. Bones shattered and reset at unnatural angles. Flesh peeled back, revealing muscle and sinew carved away as if in some grotesque experiment. One man, his mouth sewn shut, his eyes filled with unspeakable terror. Another, locked in a cage too small for his body, his limbs twisted from years of confinement. And then there were the tools. Knives, saws, crude surgical instruments stained with blood. A wooden rack fitted with iron spikes, still slick with fresh gore. A wheel-like contraption, designed not for travel, but for torment. It was a torture chamber, a laboratory of pain. The infamous LaLaurie torture chamber, where suffering was drawn out in ways too terrible to imagine. News spread fast. The fire wasn't the story. The horrors it revealed were. A furious mob gathered, ready for vengeance, but LaLaurie was already gone. Some say she escaped through a hidden passage, as if she had always planned for this moment. Others swear they saw a black carriage, its wheels thundering against the cobblestones, its curtains drawn tight. It raced through the French Quarter just before dawn, then vanished into the swamp, swallowed by the mist. But the story wasn't over. Madame LaLaurie had vanished, but rumors followed her, whispers of sightings, of a name that refused to die, because some believe she never left. As the mansion burned, one thing remained: proof of her monstrous crimes, and the ghosts of those who suffered would never leave. Before we uncover what became of Madame LaLaurie, if you're captivated by this tale of horror and history, let us know by liking this video. Your support helps us continue exploring the darkest corners of the past. And for more haunting accounts rooted in real history, subscribe to our channel so you never miss another descent into darkness. The mystery of her fate. Where did she go? Speculation ran wild. Did LaLaurie flee to France, using her family's influence to secure passage? A letter from 1850 claimed she was living under a false name in Paris, her crimes buried beneath silk gowns and whispered secrets. Or did she remain in America, hiding in plain sight? Unconfirmed sightings placed her in Mobile, Alabama, and later Louisiana. A diary fragment hinted she longed to return, but was warned she'd be killed if she set foot in New Orleans. Some whisper she never left at all, that the swamps claimed her, drowning her name in the murk, or worse, that something far darker took her. The truth remains elusive, but this is more than legend. This is the real story of Madame LaLaurie, one that refuses to die. In Paris, a gravestone bearing her name was discovered. It read, Madame Delphine McCarty LaLaurie, died 1842. But when the grave was dug up decades later, it was empty. No body, no remains. Had she been buried elsewhere? Had her family removed her body to conceal her fate? Or had she never died at all? Some believe the gravestone was a cover, a fabricated ending to silence the questions. But in New Orleans, her story refused to stay buried. Even after her supposed death, Madame LaLaurie's name never faded. Some say she returned to New Orleans in secret, that she walked the streets at night, her face veiled, her presence sending chills through those who passed her. Some swore they had seen her reflection in the windows of the ruined mansion, just a fleeting glimpse. A woman in black, standing motionless, watching, waiting. But when they turned to look, there was no one there. The haunted legacy of the LaLaurie Mansion. The fire may have destroyed the LaLaurie Mansion, but it did not silence it. Left in ruins, its walls seem to hold the echoes of past horrors. Though rebuilt with grand facades and iron balconies, new owners came and went, each fleeing in fear, because something remained inside, something that refused to be forgotten. For nearly 2 centuries, those who enter the LaLaurie Mansion feel its presence. Footsteps in empty halls, doors slamming shut, icy grips on their wrists. Shadows lurk where none should be. Whispers seep through the walls. And Madame LaLaurie herself is said to watch from the balcony. Those who dared to stay met misfortune. A jazz musician found hanged in the 1920s left a note, "They won't let me leave." In the 1960s, a boarding school shut down after students refused to enter certain rooms. And by the 1980s, a new owner fled, haunted by whispers in his sleep. The house does not forget, and it does not forgive. Centuries passed, but the darkness inside the mansion did not fade. Those who dared to own it met misfortune, and even Hollywood was not spared. Nicolas Cage. In 2007, he purchased the mansion, drawn in by its dark, infamous past. He called it his haunted refuge, a place where he could write, reflect, and escape the world. But something inside did not want him there. Workers reported strange occurrences, tools disappearing, lights flickering, shadows moving on their own. Cage himself said he had an overwhelming sense that he was not alone. Then, one night, he lost something precious, his Rolex, a rare and valuable timepiece. It had vanished without explanation, only to be discovered later, embedded inside a wall, wrapped in what appeared to be matted human hair, as if something had taken it and deliberately hidden it away. Even those who scoff at ghosts feel it, a presence, unseen but undeniable, an unease that tightens around the throat, a weight that presses down like unseen hands, as if something is still there, watching, waiting. Cage sold the mansion immediately. He never spoke publicly about what happened inside. The LaLaurie Mansion still stands, its windows dark, its secrets buried beneath time. It is a New Orleans nightmare-haunted house where the past refuses to stay buried. Tourists gather, whispering of horrors past, while ghost hunters call it the most haunted house in New Orleans. It remains one of the most chilling ghost stories of New Orleans, a place where echoes of the past refuse to fade. Some say the spirits of her victims remain trapped inside, while others believe Madame LaLaurie herself never left. Dark rituals and forbidden experiments. The horrors of Madame LaLaurie's attic were undeniable. The mutilated bodies, the crude surgical tools, the victims left broken but still breathing. But what if the torture was only part of the story? What if her cruelty had a purpose? In the years after her escape, darker rumors began to spread. Whispers that her depravity wasn't just sadistic pleasure, but something far more evil. Had Madame LaLaurie sought forbidden knowledge through suffering? Was her mansion not just a house of horrors, but an altar for something darker? The deeper one digs, the more her cruelty resembles ritual. In the late 1800s, workers uncovered jars hidden in the walls, filled with teeth, fingernails, and strips of preserved flesh, some marked with strange symbols. Some believe she sought to contain agony itself, while others suspect she followed a secret voodoo practice, using pain to harness power. If that was true, then the bodies found in her attic weren't just victims, they were sacrifices. But was LaLaurie simply a sadist, or was she tapping into something deeper, something rooted in ancient rituals? If you want to uncover the full history of voodoo, its origins, its dark rituals, and its lasting influence, check out our video exploring the truth behind this mysterious and powerful practice. It's a journey into the shadows you won't want to miss. While the fire exposed LaLaurie's horrors, some details remained buried. Among her husband, Dr. Lewis, LaLaurie's recovered notes were chilling references to pain thresholds and human endurance. Victims weren't just tortured, they were experimented on. Limbs broken and reset in unnatural positions, feet scarred from repeated forced walks over glass, scalps peeled back and crudely stitched, each wound inflicted, reopened and studied. This wasn't just cruelty, it was methodical. But for what purpose? Was it sadism? Or was she searching for something beyond human limits? LaLaurie's lavish banquets were famed for their exquisite cuisine, but a chilling theory suggests her guests dined on more than they realized. Firefighters discovered preserved human remains, not just in jars, but in the kitchen. Meat hung from hooks, eerily pale, and a stew pot contained small, human-like bones. A ledger listing servants bore strange markings, hinting at something far darker. Had she not only tortured her victims, but served them? And if so, how many had unknowingly partaken in her twisted feasts? The LaLaurie Mansion stands on cursed ground. Long before the fire, the land seemed tainted, and even today, soil tests reveal disturbingly high phosphorus levels, suggesting mass, unmarked burials beneath. Some believe the fire wasn't just a desperate act to expose her crimes, but to erase the evidence. Yet the soil remembers, and if the bodies remain, so too do the spirits. The mansion may be more than haunted. It may be a graveyard where suffering never truly ended. Modern discoveries and unsettling clues. In 2019, renovations of the LaLaurie Mansion unearthed horrors that time could not erase. Beneath the attic floorboards, workers found a rust-colored stain, human blood, over 200 years old, seeped deep into the wood. Then, behind a false wall, they uncovered a forgotten chamber. The air was stale, undisturbed since 1834. Inside sat the Wheel of Agony, a restraint chair fitted with iron spikes, its wood still grooved with dried blood. Nearby, rusted chains clung to fragments of human bone, fused together over time. The discoveries proved one thing: the mansion's darkest secrets were never truly buried. The remains were analyzed, but no records exist of where they were sent. Someone wanted this discovery to disappear. In 1982, a leather-bound diary surfaced, allegedly belonging to Madame LaLaurie. Initially dismissed as a forgery, handwriting analysis confirmed it matched her known letters. Inside, its pages were filled with cryptic symbols, erratic writings on the art of pain, and a phrase chillingly repeated: "Suffering unlocks eternal beauty." Some believe it was more than sadistic ramblings. It described an unknown ritual, one that merged medical experimentation with something far darker. But before historians could fully study it, the diary mysteriously vanished in 1999 from Tulane University's archives. No suspects, no evidence, no security footage. As if someone had been waiting for the right moment to make it disappear forever. Every time a new discovery emerges, one thing becomes clear. The LaLaurie Mansion is not done telling its story. The blood in the wood, the devices hidden behind walls, the diary that disappeared before its secrets could be revealed. The horrors of Madame LaLaurie's reign did not end in 1834. And with every new discovery, one question grows louder. What else is still buried beneath that house, waiting to be found? The Unanswered Questions. Every April 10th, on the anniversary of the fire, strange things happen at the LaLaurie Mansion. The grand chandelier sways without cause, lights flicker in eerie rhythm, and some hear faint laughter, followed by a scream. The house remembers. Of all the hauntings, none are more chilling than the sounds from the attic. Soft weeping, frantic scratching, and long, piercing wails. Many believe these are the voices of her victims, their agony imprinted in the walls. But others whisper something worse, that Madame LaLaurie herself is still there, lurking in the darkness. Her official story says she escaped, but no records confirm it. Her gravestone was empty. Her children refused to speak of her fate. Some believe she was taken by vengeful hands in the Louisiana swamps. Others insist she never left at all. There are sightings. A tall woman in black, motionless in the flickering gaslight, or stepping from the mist before vanishing into the night. Some claim she watches from the mansion's balcony. Others have heard her whisper behind them as they pass. Do you believe in ghosts? What happens when someone like her dies? What if she never truly did? Shadows that still watch. More than 2 centuries have passed, yet Madame LaLaurie's name refuses to fade. Her crimes were exposed, her reputation shattered, but the questions remain. Did she truly escape justice, or did something far worse claim her? Do the souls of her victims still haunt the mansion, their agony forever woven into its walls? And does she still walk among us, watching, waiting? Maybe she never left. If she didn't, what did she become? Now, we turn the mystery over to you. What do you believe? Are the hauntings real? Is the LaLaurie Mansion still a gateway to something sinister? And what do you think truly happened to her? Is this the real story of Madame LaLaurie, or is there more yet to be uncovered? Did she escape, or did she become something else entirely? Share your theories in the comments. We want to hear what you believe. If you love diving into unsettling true stories, haunted places, and history's darkest secrets, make sure to subscribe to our channel. There are so many more chilling tales waiting to be uncovered. Because sometimes the darkest horrors aren't born from fiction, they're ripped from reality. And history, it remembers everything. You can also explore our Dark History playlist, featuring every haunting mystery we've